are really, really, really important to me. So we have Kat, and Kat is one of my team. She helps make all the magic happen. She is the one who is magical with all of the art that you see that gets designed, the flyers and such for all the materials that we do. And Kat has been with us, I think, over a year now. And she has become instrumental in everything that I do, and I just adore her. Kat lives in Colombia, and she's just adorable. She's a little shy, so she's gonna be off camera, which is just fine. But big shout out to Kat. And there's another lovely woman by the name of Priyanka, who is normally with us on Fridays, but today happens to be Priyanka's birthday. So happy birthday to Priyanka. And Priyanka treated herself to a Norwegian spa. And she's been sending me videos and pictures. And she's like, you have to come up and do this with me. And I'm like, Canada? Okay, I'll come to Canada. So cute. And let's see, two other people that I am so delighted to introduce you to are Penny Akers and Terry Willingham. Penny and Terry have spent over the past year with me in classes. So I teach this 1-year curriculum that we call the quantum teaching curriculum. And we go through 7 classes that correspond to each of the 7 chakras. And we learn tools and techniques that I have learned and have developed over the years to allow you to become more present to life, to become more connected to God, to become more connected to yourself and your ascended, your ascended masters, the angels that are walking with you, your guardian angel, your higher self, all of the beings. We even have people that become mediums and learn how to speak to people from the other side. We have, let's see, what else do we have? We teach people how to read the Akashic records. So you learn how to read the records for yourself, and you learn how to read the records for other people. And they have become so good at what they do that they're actually going to start teaching the materials that I teach. And they're starting with our cornerstone class. It begins on Tuesday. It's called the Quantum Akashic Transformation Workshop. And it's an 8-week-long workshop. They've taken this class. They are now ready to teach this class, and I couldn't be more excited for them. They're 2 of the most gifted psychic medium healers that I have met in my life. And there are others who have come before them, but these 2, I get messages from them each day about the next most extraordinary thing that happened when they're talking to ascended masters, when they're having healings in their own lives. The thing that I love about these 2 is that they really work on themselves. And that's one of the things that I've always done, because I feel like if you're not doing the inner work, like, what the fuck are you doing? You have to be doing your own work. You have to be walking your talk. Does anyone know, and don't answer if you already know the answer to this because I've told you, but does anyone know what the highest frequency is that's emitted from a human being? They've actually measured this. What's the highest frequency? Anybody want to raise their hand, unmute, and tell us what you think? Exactly. Christina just said it. It's authenticity. So here's what you know about me. I'm from New York. I love Jesus. I channel Jesus, and I say the word fuck. I'm a cursor. So if that's an issue for you and you can't be here, I love you. This is the way that God made me. If you're going to hang out, just know that part of me, that's how I speak. That's how I communicate. I actually trust people that curse because there's no shield. Nothing's being blocked. Like, what you see is what you get. And that's how I am as well. And I'm sorry, I just got people that keep entering. This is pretty cute. So we had 100 people that signed up a couple of weeks ago. And I think 40 of you came, and then we had 60 people that signed up today, and 20 people have come, and they keep coming in. So welcome, everybody. So what we're going to talk to you about today is the Akashic records. Penny and Terry, do you guys want to take a crack at talking about what the Akashic records are and what that experience has been like of having access to it? Look at the smile on Terry's face. Terry, you want to start?
Oh, sure. I'll start, because a year and a half ago when I met you, Lynn, I couldn't do anything. All I knew was that I was really called to start looking at what was going on, and I couldn't figure out why. I didn't know how. And I took your first class, and I was kind of, and I know Penny was too, we were kind of the last 2 in the class to get anything going. But we just kept after it. And all of a sudden it just kind of blew wide open. And Holy cow, it's been life changing for me. There's been healing. There's been so much transformational work that has come through, learning about why I do this and why I struggle with that. And it's just every day's an adventure for me. Like it's crazy. And I love this work. It's what I was truly meant to do. I did not know it. And now I know why I was so called here. I didn't know that I would be doing this. I literally had no idea, but it's phenomenal. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Mhm.
And you're so extraordinary at it. So one of the things that we teach in the very first class is gaining access to something that's called the round table. And the round table is where, I know, isn't her energy gorgeous? The round table is where you sit down and you literally meet with your spirit guides and they talk to you. And it's everything from Metatron and Melchizedek in the realm of the archangels to your grandmother or your father, or to, it can be people that have crossed over, but it can also be people that are still incarnating and their higher selves have come to have a conversation with you. If you've got a person in your life that you just have a big issue with, you take them to the round table and you have a meeting soul to soul. So you get all the ego and all the drama out of the way. And the healing that occurs is rather extraordinary. Penny, is there anything you'd like to say about it? Like, guys, you can understand, this is probably going to go a little longer than a half an hour because I could talk about this shit all day long. Like it is like the juice within my veins. All right, Penny, bring it.
Yeah, so I've taken this course a couple times, and I know the first time being a newbie and Lynn taking me on a healing journey with my father, I will never forget because I was so new, but I will never forget. What would you, so she wanted me to come as my higher self, and I was really struggling, y'all, to get there, to be my higher self. And she said, "What would you like to say to your father?" And I know what I said wasn't coming from my higher self after I said it. And then she kind of sat back for a minute. She said, "Well, that was a little harsh." Anyway, it wasn't coming from my higher self, but it was something that I needed to get off my chest. And then after taking the course, um, I have a loving relationship with a man that I didn't think it was possible. And sometimes it's still one-sided. It's still on my side, but I know he is on his path, his journey. I've seen the bigger picture. I didn't want to repeat this karmic debt in another life. And that was one thing Lynn said to me. She said, "Do you want to get it this lifetime or do you want to do it again?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 no. I don't want to do this again." So I can't say enough about it. It's truly life-changing, and anybody can do it. Anybody.
And everybody, it's funny, have any of you ever heard of the Course in Miracles? Raise your hand. So the Course in Miracles is a body of work. And there was a doctor, Dr. Helen Schuckman. She was a professor at Columbia University. And she had a relationship with a lot of consternation with the man that she worked with. And his name was Bill Tedford. And he said to her, "We've got to find another way." And she said, "I'll partner with you to be able to do that." And it opened something up. It opened up a willingness that God says that's all we need is the willingness, right? We've all been granted this incredible will, and we've all been granted, the mind of God to be able to create with. So Helen started having these visions, and she would see words written on a chalkboard. And the very first thing that the word said to her was, "You will see miracles through your hands through me." And then it said, "This is a Course in Miracles. Please take notes." So she started doing shorthand notes of all the words that were being dictated. And it said, "This is a Course in Miracles. This is a mandatory course. The only thing that is elective is when you choose to take it." And that's kind of like life. Like we know that we all end up back in heaven, but we're kind of on this journey where everybody's taking different paths and going different ways and bumping into each other. And we go, "You seem really familiar. I love you. You seem really familiar. I hate you." We have these different aspects of ourselves. We've literally hired each other to come in and play roles in our lives. We go to the river of forgetfulness. We go, "Look, look, 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 look," and we forget everything all the plans that we made, all the soul contracts in the place of planning, we forget all of that. But what these courses do is they give you access to these things. So I invited the girls to come here today to be part of this, because I just want you to know that I'm stepping away from teaching the courses singularly like that. I'm going into a whole realm. I'm going to be co-teaching with a gentleman who's shown up. His name is Austin May. And Austin is, as confirmed by Jesus and confirmed by Mother Mary, he's an aspect of Yeshua, of Jesus, that's actually come back to the earth. And he just turned 33. And he's been in hiding for a long time. And we have this crazy, crazy connection. So we're going to start doing masterminds and retreats around the world. And I'm turning the body of teaching over to Penny and Terry. I don't think they knew that yet, but ta-da. So you guys are going to be teaching the entire curriculum, and we'll talk more about that. But I couldn't love you guys more. I couldn't trust you more, you know. You got to understand that when people come to me, they become part of my soul family. I mean, you are part of my soul family, you know. I look and I see Catherine, and I see Matiko, and these guys come every week, and it's just precious to me. You know, I love my staff. I love the people that I work with, and I'm very, very gifted. And one of the things I love to do is to come here on these Fridays and to have you guys have an experience of what it is to have your records read. So what we're going to do, just briefly, I'll give you my experience with this. When I was 11 years old, my mom had a best friend named Kathleen Unger, and Kathleen used to give my mom like all the woo-woo books, right? So one of the books she gave her was a book about, it was called The Sleeping Prophet, about Edgar Cayce. Raise your hand if you know who Edgar Cayce. You ever heard of him? So Edgar Cayce is this man. He would go into a deep trance, and he would bring back information from the Akashic records. And the first time I heard the word the Akashic records, I was like, oh man, like it seemed familiar to me. You ever have that thing, you hear about a thing and it seems familiar? But in my understanding, to get your Akashic records read, you had to go to India, because Edgar Cayce was dead by then, right? So it just was in the back of my mind. Like the only things to, this was like this early 70s, the only things to read at the time were Shirley MacLaine and all the books that she wrote. Chariots of the God by Eric Von Daykin, or The Seth Materials by Jane Roberts. And so over the years, I did everything I could to learn about past lives, because I was fascinated by it. Because Edgar Cayce would go into a trance and he would say, your son has a nervous anxiety because he was in the Battle of 1812 and he was shot in the belly with buckshot, and he still feels like he has it inside of him. So get oil of smoke. And people would say, oil of smoke, where can I find that? And he'd say, there's a pharmacy in Iowa, and they'd call the pharmacy in Iowa. And they'd say, we're looking for oil of smoke. And they'd say, we don't have oil of smoke. And Edgar would say, it's in the blue bottle on the second shelf. And they would move the bottles, and suddenly there's a bottle of oil of smoke. Like this is what's available in the Akashic records. This is what's available when you have access to this realm of information. And every single one of us, every single one of you has access to your own Akashic records. You can learn how to read the records. It's very, very simple. It's done from the heart. It's not done from the mind. So you take yourself from beta, you know, the consciousness where we think and keep ourselves busy and blah, 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 and ego and blah, 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 blah. You bring yourself down into you go beneath the heart, and you actually go into theta. It's a level of consciousness. And in theta consciousness, you've opened up to the field of what we've been told was the imagination. Did anybody have an imaginary friend when they were little? Did anybody have, like, you could see or hear or talk to spirits? Exactly. But you were talked out of it. Oh, that's not real. If the parent can't see it, they tell you it's not real. Guess what? It's real. Fairies are real. There's one exercise that we do. It's called energy healing. And we employ the fairies at the end of the healing, after you've removed this dark energy that's been, you know, connected to you, this heaviness, an emotion that you haven't been able to feel. Once you allow yourself to heal it and feel it and release it, there's a void. So we fill the void with golden light. And the way that we do that is we ask the fairies to borrow their fairy wand, and then you tap the place in your body. And fairy dust comes in and it kind of heals and seals and cauterizes the place where that darkness lived inside of you. It's kind of like if you were a hot air balloon and you're held down by these heavy sandbags, which are the emotions that you've never let yourself feel. And we have a way of making it really safe for you to go in and feel those things. And sometimes it's trauma, and sometimes it's entities, and sometimes it's just emotions that you've never let yourself feel or experience. Einstein was an incredible spiritualist. Did you guys know that? All he ever wanted to do was study light. And it was in a dream that E equals MC squared came through. And he didn't know what that was. It was the theory of relativity, and it stands for E. The big E stands for God, basically pure white light energy. M is mass. C is the constant or the speed of time. When you travel any mass or matter at the speed of light squared, it instantly converts back to pure white light energy. So if you have emotions that are trapped inside of you, whether they're conscious, subconscious, or unconscious, you can go in to those. You can allow yourself to experience them. And as you do, you're duplicating them. And in physics, duplication causes erasure. No two objects can occupy the same space at the same time. So you can actually have this stuff disappear. Penny and Terry, you know what I want to do? I want to pick another Friday, and I want to have us do some energy healing, do an energy healing masterclass so people can have an experience. Would you guys like something like that? Like where you could actually come and see us as we go through the process of helping people to remove that stuff, because man, that's a trip and a half. So anyway, merrily we roll along. You know, I'm living my life from 1971. All of a sudden in 2017, I see a girlfriend of mine named Tiffany, and she puts on Facebook and she goes, "Hey, I got trained to read the Akashic records and I need volunteers." And I grab my phone and I call her up and I'm like, Stephanie, you need to read my Akashic records. I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my God. She's like, okay, hold on, I'll read your records. I'm like, how did you get trained to read the records? And she goes, well, there's this woman named Linda Howe, and she wrote this book. Oh, I don't have it with me, it's upstairs. She wrote this book called How to Read the Akashic Records. She's the queen of the Akashic records. And she trained someone who trained someone who trained someone who trained someone who trained me. It's like 5 degrees of separation. I was like, oh my God. So I find Linda Howe on Facebook. I start following her. This is like the summer of 2017. And by November of 2017, she announces that beginning in January of 2018, she's going to do an online live Akashic Records training. And I was like, I'm in. It was very expensive for me at the time, $850. I was like, that seemed insane to me. I bought it, paid in full, short of selling my cat for medical experiments. You know, I was going to do whatever it took to do this class. So 48 of us around the world get together and we learn how to read the Akashic records. She teaches us this prayer. It's public record. You know, I have a little screenshot of it I keep in my phone to send to people. It's in her book. It's online, public domain. She's like, share this with people. So there's a specific way to read the prayer. I read the prayer. The very first time I open the Akashic records, these beings are jumping up and down and they're screaming, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti. And I'm scared out of my fucking mind. And I close the records. I say the prayer to close the records. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what just happened? I didn't know. I had no idea. So I write to Linda and I'm like, dear Linda, what on earth just happened? And she said, oh, they're just really excited to see you. Go back in. And I was like, oh. She said, go back in, ask him to slow down, ask him to calm down. She goes, do you know what the halls of Amenti are? And I said, no. So I Googled the halls of Amenti and it said, the halls of Amenti are written in the emerald tablets written by Thoth. And I'm like, wait, Atlantis? Like, what is this? Who am I? Why are these people coming for me? What's going on? Like, I was completely freaked out. So I go back in and I'm like, hello. And they're like, welcome back, beloved. We are delighted to have you with us. It's been a while. And I'm thinking, what, like 25,000 years? And I said, what are the halls of Amenti and why are you guys so excited? And they said, the halls of Amenti are where the Akashic records were kept. in Atlantis. I'm getting like juice, you know that, like when you eat a lemon and you get all that juice up here. I said, okay, what did I have to do with that? And they said, you were one of the keepers, you were one of the guardians of the Akash. I was like, man, I've never taken acid, I've never taken drugs, I've never taken heroin. Like, am I having like a PTSD acid flash? Like, what is going on? It was one of the most insane moments of my life. They said, no, you're here to teach people about the Akashic records. And I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. So I start teaching people how to read the Akashic records, and people are coming out of the woodwork. I've probably taught almost probably close to 500 people how to read the records. I've done thousands of hours of sessions, and there are probably a couple hundred of the ones that I've taught that are actually like employing this now and doing readings for other people. It's very, very simple, but you have to do it from your heart. So I was like, okay, there was some other technology I was trained in, and I was like, you know what I got to do? I got to be able to teach people how to get to their heart and get stuff out of the way. And so Spirit guided me to do this year-long curriculum, and it helped people. It's helped people so much to go in and to understand why they think the way that they do, why they feel the way that they do, why life repeats in the ways that it does. Because the universe, like, a hamster on a hamster wheel, is going to keep giving you the same energy until you learn to release it. Does that make sense? So I'm being told to ask right now, does anybody have any questions about this? I know this all sounds a little bit far-fetched. Thank you for the love. Okay, so what else can I tell you about this? When you come to ask a question from the Akashic records, here's what I always recommend. I recommend that you ask a why question. So one of the questions, I trained this one girl named Debbie, and she was just remarkable. And I said, okay, Deb, my father has suddenly landed back in my life. I haven't seen him for 11 years. Was dropped off by his girlfriend of 13 years. He has Alzheimer's and dementia, and he's terrorizing me and my mom. He's here in the house with us. Why am I so afraid of my father? And she says, 493 years ago in Lithuania. And I'm thinking, I don't even know where the fuck Lithuania is, like somewhere in Europe, some Slavic, whatever. But like my heart starts pounding really quickly. She says, you were his daughter, and you were known for your beauty, but your father sold you into prostitution. Men were allowed to come and be with you, but they could only come once a month. And your father kept you in rags, and he kept all the money that he collected, for men to lay with you. And he also had sex with you. You had no friends. You only spoke to the staff in the house. And there was one woman who would come every month, and she would make beautiful dresses for you for the next month of suitors. And you would wear this outfit. I was like, oh my God. She said, one day a young man comes and you two fall in love with each other. And he wants to ask your father for your hand in marriage. And he goes to your father and he asks, and your father forbids you from ever seeing him again. So you start to pass notes through the house staff, and you make plans to run away together. He wants to get you away from this life. So the next time the dressmaker comes, you steal some coins where your father has them hidden because you've watched this whole process. And you say to her, please make me some clothes. I'm going to run away. I've met the love of my life. He's going to help me escape from this. And she's like, oh, honey, I'm so excited for you. She takes the coins, because we used to complain every month when she would come about, this horrible life I had. And she's like, oh, I know, you're so stressed. However, when she leaves the bedroom, Debbie says, she leans against the door, she looks down at the gold coins in her hand, and she goes directly to your father and says she's trying to escape. He becomes enraged. He drags you by the hair into the middle of the town square, accuses you of trying to steal from him, and you are stoned to death. And the last stone that kills you is the stone that he takes when he smashes your skull in, the very heavy crystal, by the way. I didn't think it was that heavy. And I'm like, okay, that would explain a few things. Like, this is how detailed the records are. Okay. You can't make this shit up. Like, come on. I'm not, Steven Spielberg or George Lucas. I can't write these stories. Like, okay. So I'm like, wow, I got some forgiveness work to do. So not only was I able to forgive my father, but I was the one that took care of him in his last 2 years. I paid all of his bills, sold his house, sold his car, found him a place to be, and protected my family from him because he started getting really out of control. But this brought peace to the dynamic between the two of us. And it's funny because he had accused me of like stealing money from him. Where did all my money go? Like it was a flashback. He would knock on my door at night and he'd say, "Can I sleep with you?" And I'd say, "No, fathers and daughters don't sleep together." "Yes, they do. Check it out." He would look at me in the morning, look me up and down. He'd say, "Good morning." And I'd say, "Hello. Do you know who I am?" And he said, "No, but I know who I'd like you to be." And I'd say, "Knock it off. I'm your daughter." And he's like, "Oh, well, that doesn't matter, does it?" So like all of this got healed. It required a lot. It required a lot. But that's the level of healing that's available when you allow yourself to delve deeply into the Akashic records. So it's not just reading it in a book, it's going into a past life, it's being able to go into the future, it's being able to look at simultaneous existences. That's the power of accessing the Akash. It's known as the book of life, and every thought, every word, every action you've ever taken, it's all recorded there. So when you go in, you want to ask questions about why. Why do I have this habit? Why do I love France? Why do I hate Spain and Germany? Why do I always seem to date the same person? Why do I have these fears? Why do I love snakes and hate spiders? That was a trip, finding out why I hated spiders. I don't hate spiders anymore. So that level of healing is available to you. Does that make sense? Any questions? I know these stories sound fantastical, but I swear to you, I'm living proof that this stuff is real. So what I would like to do now is ask Penny or Terry, and they're totally unprepared for this, which one of you would like to actually do the Akashic reading today? One of you raise your hand. You up for it, Penny? Okay. All right. So Penny's going to do the reading today. And where's my little Kit Kat? Kat.
Hi.
Hi, beautiful. I'm so happy you're here. Kat is such a magical genius, you guys. She's extraordinary, and I'm blessed to have her in my life. So, Kat, would you please tell us who is going to receive a reading today from Penny?
Yeah. Cassandra.
Okay. Cassandra, are you up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you up for this?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's do this. I'm excited for you. So
Thank
Penny
you.
is now going to read Cassandra's records, and here's how this goes. Cassandra, she needs your legal name, not what's on your birth certificate unless you've never changed it, but how you would sign a legal document, like how you would sign your taxes, because that's how the Akashic records know you.
I signed my signature just C. Nadeline.
Okay, but your name is Cassandra.
Yeah, it's Cassandra Lynn Nadeline.
Okay, so legally, your name is Cassandra Lynn Madeline. Nadeline. N-A-D-A.
Nadeline.
Okay, beautiful. All right. So Penny's going to say a prayer. Part of it is said aloud, part of it is said silently. She will then announce that your records are now open. You can then ask 2 to 3 questions and she'll answer these for you. Everybody else, I want you to know this is a trip and a half, this experience, okay? So just buckle up. It's very, very exciting. And listen, for those of you who came here today and didn't get read, please come back. We're going to be, we do these all the time, okay? So Penny, you ready to go? I'm gonna mute and let you two at it.
Okay, thanks. Cassandra, I did see that you, or Cassandra, is it too broad to ask the Akashic about more than one person at a time? Here's what I want you to also understand. When you go into it, these are your records. This is not somebody else's records. So you are asking about you. If you're at, this person concerning me. So we don't go in, we don't ask, what is my father's purpose in this lifetime, or what is my,
Oh.
it has to do with you. So does that make sense?
Yes. So can I just say what's on my mind? So
No,
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 not yet.
no,
Okay.
no.
We'll get
Okay.
in there, but I
let-
just wanted to make
and-
sure that
No,
your
That's
question,
a great point. Yeah,
your question
You-
was definitely about you.
yeah, you're going in to read your record, so I can't ask, why, I can't ask why my father did whatever he did. I had two students one time, they were working together, and one of the girls said, "Why did my mother abandon her children?" And the other student said, "I'm sorry, I'm not getting any information." I said, "That's because she's trying to read her mother's records." I said, "Try this question on. Why did I choose to have my mother abandon me?" And all this information was forthcoming. Does that make sense to everybody? So you always need to get permission to read someone's records. It's like getting permission to send healing to someone, or to pray for someone. What you're praying for may be against their soul contract with God. So you need to get permission for the things that you're asking about and the things that you're getting prayers about, like for healing and things like that. So let these be self-focused. Like, what is my soul contract? What is my relationship with my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, my son, my daughter, my husband, my wife? Those kind of things,
okay.
Why do I love this? Why do I hate this? Why am I obsessed with this? Why do I have this addiction? Why do I, those kind of things. Make sense? Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Penny.
And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. Oh, Holy Spirit of God, help me to know Cassandra Lynn Madeline in the light of the Akashic records, to see Cassandra in the eyes of the Lords of the records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones have for Cassandra. The records are now open. Do you have a question?
What is my soul contract?
Dear one, you have several soul contracts. You need to be more specific about a particular part of it. Does that make sense?
What is my soul contract with my work here in this life?
Your work here with this life, okay. They're showing me, they're taking me back to a time, and you worked in a, if you will, you worked in a place that was very dirty, that was very hot. And they're showing me that basically you are wearing rags, your hair's pulled back, and you're sweating, and you're not happy, and your work was monotonous. And they're showing me that this particular work was not enjoyable. And now I see him walking. And now taking me along a path, and you're with a bunch of children, lots of children, and your heart, it's exploding with happiness. You are carefree with these children. You love loving on these children. And they're showing me that you don't make any money doing this, but that was where your passion was. And so this soul contract for this lifetime, as far as work, is supposed to be balanced. It's supposed to be something that gives you joy every single day. It is something that you light up. And if you are not lighting up in what you are doing, whether it's bringing you the financial stability that you want or not, maybe you are asking to be course correcting. If you are, then you are following your work soul contract. I still see children. I don't know what that's about, but I don't know if it's the past life and now that it's here. So I'm just asking them to give me just a little bit more clarity. There's just saying in that lifetime you were extremely happy, and to get that joy again in this lifetime, that's what it's going to take. So they were just showing me the opposite. Does this make sense?
Um, kind of. I've had my own premonition that or dream or something. I'm just recalling that now, where I had hordes of children. I have no children in this lifetime, no desire, no, like, I, I wouldn't say I don't like children,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also a brain injury survivor now, so I don't prefer to be around children. Um so I always knew there was some reason why I didn't want them in my life, in this life. And I'm okay with that. I've always been okay with that.
Absolutely.
Um, and I think I am on the right path. It's been a long, hard road to get to the place where I am all in on my own gifts and working as a reader and a coach. And that lights me up absolutely 100%. And interesting, I have worked in a factory in this life, and I thought about what you were saying, and it was very hot and it was horrible and I hated it. Um, so yes, that all makes some sense to me, and I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be.
So understand that they want you to know, the Lords of the Akashic, they want you to know that there is no right or no wrong. They showed me these two examples because in those lifetimes, it's repeating a little bit in this to show you what you want and what you don't want, and to remember to always be in your heart. Maybe you won't right away make financially what you want, but in that lifetime with those children, you were, I mean, you were so happy. So if this is lighting up your life, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
And may I ask another, or
Yes, please.
okay. Um, is it too broad to ask why I chose the family I chose to be born into?
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, my father, mother, sister.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. It is a broad question, but let me go in, and they're already walking. So let's just see where they're taking me. Mm. I'm seeing a reference of a black sheep, if you will. I'm seeing a field of sheep, and they're all white except one, and it's a black sheep. And my dear, that is you
in this lifetime.
in this lifetime. Um, but now they're walking again. Does that make sense what I just said?
Yes.
Thank you. You've not always been the black sheep. And this is going to sound simplistic, but yet it's not. You've been the white sheep many times in this dynamic with your family. Okay. And the lesson in this lifetime is to be the black sheep. Um, they are, they're showing me, they're showing me a fifth person. So I'm not for sure what that is, but these 5 people, and you are one of them, have played different roles throughout different lifetimes. And this lifetime with the black sheep, you must work on forgiveness. This is the big dynamic in this particular life. Do you refer to yourself as that?
I probably have over the years at certain sometimes.
Okay.
I don't do that now,
Okay.
but I have.
Okay.
Absolutely.
This is some deep work for you to go in to the records and learn how to go into the records and learn how to, at your higher self, be connected with the higher self of them. There is a great healing that will be coming to you because of this, this dynamic, but it first starts with forgiveness. And they're showing me one more than the other. There is one that keeps standing out. And this person and you, whichever it is, has been the white sheep, the black sheep, the black sheep, the white sheep. And it's when it's time to learn the lesson. That's what they're telling me. It's time to learn the lesson. And the biggest one is forgiving. So if there is someone in your family that you need to forgive, they're urging you to forgive. Does that answer your question?
Yes. I it makes sense. I think it's like, I don't know, looking for something that, you know, unexpected, I guess, but that's completely expected. So it makes 100% sense, right? That
Right.
that is
Right.
the lesson. I know it's the lesson.
Thank you. There's no big secret. There's no big, I mean, yes, you could go in and we could go into many past lives where you played different roles
Right.
with this with these other souls, but
Mhm.
your question was this
For
lifetime,
this
and
lifetime,
it is forgiveness for sure.
right? Is there time for another question?
Please, yes.
Is there, how do I say this? Can can you can you uh look up how my sister and I were connected in previous lifetimes?
432 times you have been connected to your sister. You have played, you've played many roles with each other, mother, daughter, daughter, mother, sisters, husband, wife,
Hmm.
acquaintances. They're walking, so let's see if they take us on a journey. I'm seeing, I don't want to, I'm seeing a tribe, and everyone's faces are painted. And there is a fire, and everyone is doing a dance around the fire. Mm. And they're showing me that you had just given birth to a baby. Mm. This was before your lifetime with all the children. In this particular lifetime, your sister was not female, she was male. And your baby was sacrificed at the hands of your sister. Okay. They're showing me that particular role, I think, in sense of your choice in not having a child in this lifetime, and your sister being your sister in this lifetime. But yes, 432 times, but that one by far was the most painful. And they urge you to go in and find peace and forgiveness for this act as well. That's what we call Akashic healing. Yes, that was a very traumatic time. Very, very fear, anger. They're showing me this lifetime, there is that resentment there. And again, to forgive. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Do
you.
you feel complete?
No, because I'm still wondering about my parents. Um, but if we're out of time, I understand. Um,
That's enough
Yep.
for today.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm being told that's enough for today.
Thank you
Because
so much.
Cassandra, you can always connect with Penny. You can learn to do this for yourself.
Yep.
There's a lot that's available for you here. I like your greed, though. I have that same kind of greed. It's good.
Cassandra, they are telling me thank you for being bold, stepping forward today. They look forward to seeing you in the future in your own records. I'm going to go ahead and close the records now.
Thank you.
I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the Lords of the Akashic records for their point of view. I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen.
Sorry, Lynn, what did you say
I
just
said-
before?
I said, I love your greed, like the desire to know more. I have that same thing,
Oh,
like wanting. It's gorgeous. It's admirable.
thank you.
You're welcome, my love. You're absolutely welcome. Penny, that was beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Penny.
And
Thank you
Cassandra,
for allowing me to go into your records. I really do appreciate it.
gorgeous. I had a chance to read the chat and just really quickly, Ian, I wanted to say to you, duplication causes erasure. Have you ever heard the phrase, you have to feel it in order to heal it? What that means is you have to be willing to go back into the energy that has come to you that you said, I can't experience this. It's too much. It's too fast. I'm overwhelmed. And you tuck it inside of you and it manifests. It manifests as cancer. It manifests as disease. It manifests as illness. It manifests as anger. When you're willing to go in and you allow yourself to find the shape, the color, the size, the texture, the temperature, the weight, the movement, and all the emotions that are trapped in these blocked energy packages, they harden over time. They get petrified, literally petrified and hardened inside of us. And when you go in and you breathe life into it and you begin to look at it, and you begin to address it, and you begin to feel it, and you begin to speak to it, what happens is it softens and it begins to melt. And then duplication causes erasure because you duplicate it. There's a process that we teach of duplication and it causes it to disappear. And the whole thing is gone. People literally will say they feel lighter. You know, the things that used to weigh them down are not there anymore. Does that make sense, Ian?
Yeah, it does somewhat make sense because I've always wondered why you have to go back and re-experience the trauma. But I thought you had to transform the trauma into something, into a divine pattern that you were before the trauma occurred. Because energy can't be created or destroyed, it can only be transformed.
Exactly. It's not a destruction at all. It is a complete transformation. So when you think of for the formula E equals MC squared, what took pure energy and had it manifest as a doorknob? What had it manifest as a phone? What had it manifest as a human? Is it has a different frequency that it's taken on. Now, when the frequency of something is causing pain, it's because you haven't allowed it to move through. All energy, emotion is energy in motion. And when an emotion comes and the velocity is too quick or too much or whatever, we stop it, we thwart it, and we say, no, I can't experience that. And it gets stored within us in your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, your etheric body. So the processes and the techniques that we teach are about how to access that energy and how to free it, how to basically transform it. That's why it's called quantum Akashic transformation, because you're working within the Akashic field. And as you could see from the reading that Penny did, everything that you want and everything that you need is available in the records. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Cassandra,
it
thank you
does.
for, okay, gorgeous. Cassandra, thank you again for your courage, my love, in coming up and asking those really vulnerable questions. One of the impressions that I got is there's definitely also some really deep work to do with your dad. So take a look at that. All right. Wow, we're almost an hour here. So I want to say thank you to Penny and Terry. They have a class that's starting on Tuesday. If any of you are interested in taking this class with them, it's going to be extraordinary. Kat, Kat just dropped in the link for that. So I don't know if you found me on TikTok. If you found me on Facebook, we have a group on Facebook where all of us are, there's like almost 850 of us. And we're doing channelings. We are promoting others and their work as well. If there's any way that you want to reach out to us, find a way to reach out to us, and we are so happy to help you. These two are extraordinary, as you could tell. You got to see Terry's gorgeous energy, but Terry is extraordinary. The beings that she talks to and she communicates, just really remarkable. So does anyone have any questions, anything they would like to ask before we go? Oh, Cassandra, you're so welcome. I love everything about you. You're amazing. I love when people bring their authenticity forth. You know, it's a gorgeous thing. All right, Penny, Terry, anything you girls want to say, ladies, women, before we go?
Thank you so much, Lynn.
You're very, very welcome. You're very, very welcome. It's my delight. We're here every week, unless we're not, but please come back at any time. And wishing you all the most gorgeous, gorgeous Shabbat. For me, Shabbat is about honoring a time of going into silence. So I turn off all my electronic devices. I don't speak for 24 hours. I spend time connecting to source. I talk with my spirit guides and my teachers and my loved ones. And we can teach you how to access all those souls. They're dying to communicate with you. They want to help you accomplish what you promised God you were going to come to earth and do. And if you don't know what that is, let us help you remember. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
for being
thank
here.
you, thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Blessings, everyone. Have a gorgeous
Bye-bye.
day. Bye.
Bye.